Hi. One day, my daughter came back home, quite pleased with herself, from school, of course, and she was delighted to announce that she had scored 92% in a class test in mathematics and that she was a topper in her set within the class. This was a big deal for her because she is not quite interested in mathematics. And for that reason, she doesn't invest much time to practice and get better at it. While we are working on not being swayed by our likes and dislikes too much, what was interesting is that few days later, she came back home. She didn't look upset, I must say. She said, "Oh, by the way, I have a bad news." I said, "Okay, what is it?" She said, "You know how I said I was a topper in that particular test? There was this boy who was unwell on the day of the test, so he took the test later and he scored 1 mark more than me. So I'm no longer the topper." I said, "That's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter. I wasn't pleased with your performance or outcome because you topped the class, but because you had significantly improved from where you were. When you compete with others, the result depends on what others do, right? And there will be times when they do better than us, and there will be times when we do better than them. But that is not entirely in our control. What is really in our control is, are we bettering ourselves? Are we improving ourselves? So when the competition is within ourselves, it is far more inspiring. So my response to her was, "That's absolutely fine. I'm proud of you for the improvement that you've made and look into how you can sustain the improvement and maybe even get better." When you focus on bettering yourself instead of competing, you begin to play an infinite game rather than a finite game. Because when you're competing, there is only a finite number of outcomes. You win or lose, or you come second, third, first, whatever the number is. But when you're improving, there's no end to how much you can improve. And that is quite inspiring. It's like a topless mountain. You can keep climbing up and up and up. You can just keep bettering yourself. And that is far more inspiring and motivating than looking for extrinsic motivation, like, "Oh, I need to beat that person," or "I need to beat that business." This kind of motivation where you want to better yourself remains with you. Tomorrow, if your key competitor, let's say the other topper in your class, moves to another school, does it mean that you will no longer do well because there's no pressure to compete? Your extrinsic motivation will not last long enough, and it can burn you out. It can make you make some poor choices. So counting on intrinsic motivation will help you play the infinite game, which is life. I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this. Do share your comments, and if you like this, share it with others.